Not yet, but
Interesting music.
there he is. Hi. Guess I should turn that off, huh?
I'm not a fan anyway. It's okay.
You didn't like that music?
Not really.
Oh my gosh.
It's meh.
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 Alright, let's rock and roll, coochie coo.
Okay.
Turn that crap off.
On the radio, I'm working with folks just like you to help them buy and sell homes. I'm proud to say that my team, the Baker Realty Group, has been helping people buy and sell homes in the greater Sun Prairie area for over.
I gotta get new ear things.
Information about buying and selling a home
I get tired of these.
on my website, thebakerrealtygroup.com, on Facebook by searching the Baker Realty Group, or by calling 608-575-67.
There's our subject.
Now sit back, relax, and enjoy.
I saw that.
It's a good one.
Prairie Real Estate Show with
And then we'll have
It's a
Melissa in
timely
later.
one.
brought to you by the Baker
Well, it's been a timely one.
Welcome to the Sun Prairie Real Estate Show with your host, Bill Baker.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Sun Prairie Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Bill Baker, and glad to be here with you. You're listening to 103.5 WLSP, The Sun. We're underwritten by those wonderful folks at the Bank of Sun Prairie and the Baker Realty Group and Wintrust Mortgage. What a great group right there,
Wow,
I tell you.
say.
I know it. I know it. Hey, this show was created just for you. It's all about learning more about buying, selling, and investing in real estate. And Laura Stanfield and I do the best we can to bring you that information. And we're happy to be your resource going on 7 years now. 7 years we've been doing this. And it seems like it was yesterday that we did this. But that's okay. We're into it. If you're listening to us on radio and you would like to, you're more than welcome to go to Facebook. Check out 103.5, that Facebook page, my page, Baker Realty Group. You can go to the Sun Prairie Real Estate Show Facebook page, or if you like YouTube, you can go to the Sun Prairie Real Estate Show on YouTube. So we got you all covered, and we're glad to have you. Mike Collins, welcome to the show. Mary Polinsky, thanks for joining us. Appreciate that. Hey, today a subject that I want to talk about is one that is it's confusing as hell, it's political as hell, and it's just pure hell. No, it's just everything about it is people just don't know. They just get it confused like you can't believe. They don't understand it, and I want to try and work on this a little bit today. Now, how did this all happen? How did it come about? Well,
Did you say what it is first?
well, no, I'm getting to it.
Okay.
Don't steal my thunder.
No, I'm not. I'm just
It's
saying
called
they
timing.
don't know what
It's
you're talking
timing. You have to do timing.
Okay, fine.
So on Monday night, I sit on the housing committee for the city of Sun Prairie. Very proud of that distinction, and thank you to the mayor for appointing me to that position. We were talking about a subject called affordable housing / workforce housing, and of the panel that was there, the staff that was there, the housing experts that were there, nobody could agree on a definition. They were all over the place. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to break these two out. We're going to show you what that means in the real world instead of just the political mumbo jumbo. But before I can do that, you need to know that the reason this show does as well as it does, award-winning broadcast that it is, if we didn't have this woman sitting across from me, the world's greatest mortgage banker, Ms. Laura Stanfield from Wintrust Mortgage. And good morning.
Morning.
You love when I do that.
No, I don't.
I know you don't.
I don't at all, but that's okay.
I like to get you to blush. You stop blushing. You finally just roll your eyes and like, get it over with, okay?
I know, right? Because I know what you're going to say. You say it every time.
I know. Well, you are that good.
It's nice.
You are that
It's not
good.
exactly true.
This area of discussion today is something that is dear to your heart. Especially the affordable housing side.
Affordable housing.
Right, and
Air quotes.
Air quotes. Like, yes, absolutely, it is. And it is so deceiving. I mean, and you hear politicians, you just heard it in the political election week that just happened back in, November and all that. People are like, I'm in support of affordable housing. I'm in support of affordable housing. I'm here for workforce housing and affordable housing. What the hell does that mean, you know?
Do they even know what they're talking about?
I don't think so.
There are different definitions, many
Yeah.
different definitions, depending on who you talk to.
No. I'm very happy that we have a state senator and a representative that are working in those areas. Melissa Radcliffe, our newly elected legislator, that has some big shoes to fill because of Gary Hebel retiring. And something that you folks may not know about Gary Hebel is that Gary is actually a member of the Media Center Commission. So he sits on a board that oversees the entire operations of the Media Center where we're broadcasting from. But so she's got big shoes to fill. But then you got Melissa Agard, who is definitely a housey person. We're going to call her a housey.
A housey?
A housey. She's a housey.
Okay.
She knows the struggles. She knows what's going on about that. So we have people. But if I ask them to the definition of workforce and affordable, everybody gives me the same answer.
Which is?
Based on median income. The area median income.
I think that's what most people think. If they even know, because a lot of people don't even understand what area median income is.
Right.
County median income.
Well, do you know what ours is for the city of Santa Prairie?
Dane County, like for a one-person household?
Oh, well, I can do both.
I think
It's on your cheat sheet in front of you.
Oh, well, I wasn't going to cheat.
Oh.
For Dane County, I know a one-person anyway is like 62,000, something like that.
Dane County. So for Sun Prairie, it's 41,000.
Really?
For a family, it's 77,139.
A family of...
It's just family. It's described as a family.
Mm.
So I'm taking that stat right off the City of Sun Prairie page on their statistics and all that.
They should define how many people.
Well, I know.
Does that?
Who does?
The government does that.
Well, the government's always so wrong anyway.
Okay.
But no,
Right, we'll let that
but they're
go.
also those are 2020 numbers.
Really? Why do we have
Just
numbers from...
census. I'll bet you. I think that was the last census we
Alrighty.
had. Faye Humphrey, good morning. Glad that you could join us. Man, I love when I got all these peoples I know that are coming in. She's all the way out in Prescott, Arizona.
Oh, I'd like to be with you, Faye.
I do.
I mean, it's not that bad here, but I'd rather be in Arizona.
So, yeah, exactly. Let's go to Arizona. So why do we talk about affordable housing and workforce housing? Why is this a big issue? Why is it so important? And it is a big issue.
Huge.
It's huge. And the reason for that is that our community, believe it or not, is based on affordable housing and workforce housing and available housing. How's that sound?
Those are all different things.
Housing for all is what we have to work on. You've got affordable housing, which may be a lower income bracket for gross income. A workforce housing is a more middle class income. But you also need housing for above middle class.
Well, right, and affordability applies to
Everyone.
every price range, every income
Exactly.
bracket right now.
Exactly.
Because of where the market has been.
So according to I can't even talk, I'll say University Department. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, better known as HUD, Affordable housing is generally defined as housing on which the occupant is paying no more than 30% of gross income for housing costs, including utilities. That's about as much of nothing as I've ever heard.
That's meaningless.
This comes from your government you were talking about. We're talking about affordable housing, 30% of your
That's very
gross.
general, broad.
Exactly.
That's a guideline for like affordability for the average person, whatever your income is, 30%. But
30%. Wouldn't you love to have 30%?
Including utilities.
Including. Wouldn't you love to have that?
Taxes, insurance, all
Well,
that
you
stuff.
do. You have that. You're below 30%.
Well,
for your housing.
But that's kind of why we're talking about this, right?
Right.
Because of interest rates and housing values, it's been harder and harder for people to fit that in that ideal 30% of their gross income. I assume it's gross.
Yes, it is
They're
gross.
saying.
Right.
I wonder how many people know the difference between gross and net.
Oh, here we go. Another definition.
Right.
By the way, Faye Humphrey says, come on out and visit.
Okay.
We're on our way.
Okay. I'll find a flight now. If you can fly out of Madison today, that was a whole nother thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's a different story.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, my gosh.
All kinds of issues.
So, yeah, there's another one, gross and net. You want to take that on while I
Sure.
type something?
Sure. So gross monthly income is what you earn. It's your before tax, before deductions, before 401k income. Your net income is what you have to live on. It's what lands in your account, checking account, savings account, whatever. But it's what you have to spend.
That was very nicely done.
We use gross income because we work in percentages, which is why HUD
Right.
is saying 30%. Because we know, that there's taxes, there could be child care, there could be all kinds of things that people have to pay over and above the expenses, the things that we look at.
Yeah.
Huh.
How about that?
It is peculiar though, like whoever decided that we would use gross income and a percentage of that.
Some economist.
But everybody's so all over the board about what deductions come out,
I
right?
know.
What's your tax bracket?
Sure.
Like how many exemptions
Exactly.
do you claim? It's so crazy.
And we're going to talk about this in more detail. But here's what's fun. It's not fun. The phrase affordable housing is, I don't even know that word, used as a general term to refer to housing assistance of low-income individuals, including housing vouchers, housing designated for residents below a certain income of the area.
Okay, wait a minute. That's again a different definition.
Thank
So
you.
Is that still under HUD?
That's under HUD.
Stop it.
Well, if I stop, I can't.
HUD's confused.
It's the government, remember? Less government, our lives would be better.
Well, maybe both are right. I mean, they really are both right.
Mhm.
So this is where all the confusion comes into play, right?
Okay.
Perception.
Sure. So I broke it down. So the median income, it's on your page right in front of you. Put your glasses on, look at the pages.
I can see
I
that,
printed
actually.
them. I printed it out so you could follow.
Can I listen? Can I listen?
No.
I'm gonna.
Okay, good. So the median income being $77,139 in our beautiful city of Sun Prairie. If I take 60% of that value, which is a number that is given as the level of affordability, what classifies people, 60% of the median income, 60% of the area median income, better known as AMI, it is considered affordable housing, 60% or less. Okay? So here you go, ready? So of that 77,000, at 60%, that would leave $46,000. You're shaking your head no?
Go ahead. I'm just listening.
That's $46,000, and if I take of that 60% of that median income, 30% for housing on that gives us a monthly housing payment that's of $1,157. That's what they could.
I'm sorry.
That's the
Come
30% of the AMI.
You can't. Yeah.
No, I know,
How
right?
about finding rent even at?
Yeah, you're going to find it later.
Buy a house.
You can't get a one-bedroom apartment for that.
Well, taxes alone, right, are what? At least $350 average taxes in Sun Prairie.
For
Real estate taxes.
Oh yeah, but I'm talking about rentals right now.
Oh, rentals. But I'm just like, as a housing payment,
Yeah, it ain't happening.
a third is already taxes at a minimum
Right.
of that number.
Right.
Homeowners insurance, like You can't.
Exactly.
No.
So let's keep going on this. So what you saw was a household is considered low income if it makes less than 60% of the AMI, being area median income. That's $77,000 in Sun Prairie. So by this definition, a dwelling is considered affordable for low income families if it costs less than 24% of the area median income. That ain't it. They can't afford it.
Are people sufficiently confused, I wonder?
I hope so, because, sometimes I am.
I know.
So,
a lot of stuff, a lot of terms.
Well, we got $46,000 at 30% is $1,157. And you can't do it at 24%.
No.
There's just no way.
No.
So it causes problems, right? Now, so there are two basic types of policies that can make a difference in affordable housing. First, the government could directly give money or discounted housing to low-income families. They could just give it to them, right? That ain't happening. Not in Sunbury. Obviously, a family who receives a free house can now afford housing. By the same token, families that receive money can afford a wider range of house. Now, that might be different vouchers and stuff like that, okay? You've heard of Section 8, things like that. Okay, that's a voucher. That they're subsidizing that rent, which is an interesting subject and a separate subject altogether.
Yeah, it is.
That would take up an entire show.
Habitat sounds like a good fit.
Habitat's a good one for that. Now, what Habitat for Humanity of Dane County, what they do is they're subsidizing the purchase of a home a couple of ways, by payments, but also by the sweat equity that you put in the house. Is that a fair?
Mm-hmm. And they're able to offer 0% mortgages, so they make them more affordable.
Exactly.
For people.
Exactly.
They don't get a handout.
They get a hand
people
up.
Still think that, hand up.
They get a hand.
They still have to pay a mortgage.
Sure.
They just are able to arrange a 0% to make it more affordable, and you do have to qualify under these income guidelines.
Right. Exactly. Habitat is a fabulous resource.
It is.
And I hope to see that grow like you can't believe.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you know, and people are going, well, why would you want somebody to buy a home? Why? Well, we know, and from previous shows we've talked about this, is that we know for a fact that somebody that owns a home buys into the whole community, the city, the whole part of being a part of something. We know their kids do better in school. They're there, they're locked in, basically. It's harder to leave and move somewhere else when you own your home.
There's more pride
Exactly.
of ownership, more community investment.
Right.
And
Right.
like families are, not all, right?
Sure.
But more stable in theory.
Right.
Kids are more stable.
Right. Right. And as you and I like to talk about, it's the beginning of wealth building.
It is.
Huge. Huge. So, we talked last week that the prices in Sun Prairie went up 12% over last year. 12%. Right? In December. Let's make it a 10% percentage because those are fun and round and easy to do.
Easy numbers.
So if you were one of those folks that part of Habitat for Humanity of Dane County, Steve Hannaran and Val, right?
Val, yep.
Our friends, you bought a $300,000 house. The value, your equity, just increased by $30,000. Now, what does the word equity mean, Madam Lender-like person?
Lender-like person. The difference between what you owe and what something is worth. Like your...
Right.
Yeah.
So what it means is that your value, you just put $30,000 in your pocket, but it's called a housing account. It's in your house. You can't cash it right now. You could, but that's another show. But
you could use it as a home equity situation.
Sure.
Though. Like if you wanted to, I'm not advising people do this. Your home is not an ATM machine. But if it makes good financial sense,
right.
You could maybe buy a car. You could maybe do home improvements.
Sure.
Improve the value further.
Sure.
You could use the equity that way.
Sure. I like that.
And consolidate debt if it makes sense.
Sure. So can I describe it this way? If you bought a house if your house is worth $200,000 and you owe $100,000 and you sell it, you have $100,000 in equity.
Yeah.
So that's the equity of what it's worth and what you owe on it.
Minus commissions and taxes.
Don't go.
Wah, 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 wah.
Don't go down that. So your equity has grown by 30%. That's why we want to get people into houses, is so they can be a part of the wealth building game. Even if it's a 5% increase, a 4% increase, as we talked about in our last show, you're still putting equity into your investment, and you can't get those numbers from the stock market.
No.
So
Heck no.
So that's a good example of a way that the government has put incentives into buying houses. They have different angles to do things.
I think they can do more.
Oh, yes, and
They need to do more.
with my committee, I'm hoping we will.
Builders need the incentives.
Right. Now, here's the thing too: is about housing we have to have the supply of housing that are out there. So the second, policymakers could increase the number of dwellings in a metropolitan area of Sun Prairie. This could be done either by relaxing restrictions on the size of buildings that can be built, or by relaxing restrictions that mandate minimum sizes of individual dwelling units. Cities tend to have a number of zoning rules that artificially restrict the supply of housing. That is a big one, folks, and we're working on it here. Because we have a housing crisis today. Nationwide, we have a housing crisis. We don't have enough houses. But it can't be fixed overnight. It's impossible.
No.
So it's going to take a couple of years. Now, what do I mean by that? First of all, is you can just build more houses, right? Yeah, well, how long does it take to build a
Are
house?
they affordable?
How long does it take to build a house?
Oh, some are taking a year,
Yeah, it could be. Let's
Yeah.
say 6 months to a year.
at least 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months to a year.
Mhm.
I will tell you this, that the number of new homes sold this past year is down drastically. And we'll talk about that on a different show. But the other thing is apartment buildings. The supply of rental properties is lacking, and that's why you see all the construction of rental properties in Sun Prairie. If you increase the supply of housing, you make housing more affordable. And you're looking at me like I am so if you
No, my problem with it is that so I get it. I get we need more housing. I get that the rental percentage is high enough that it supposedly, makes sense to build more rentals. However, I've said this before, how do we know if these people are actually choosing to rent, or if they could buy a condo they would
Right.
rather own? They just can't find it or afford it. So why are we putting so many resources into apartment building? I know why, because of return on investment. For
density.
we need more incentives
Yes.
for developers and builders to build
Right.
houses people can own,
Sure.
because they want to own them. Not everybody does.
No.
A lot of people who are renting right now would rather own.
Right.
They just can't because it's not there.
Right.
That's what we have to work on.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm with you on that. So we talk about single-family homes all the time. Condos are terrible, or as I say, terrible.
Terrible. I was waiting for you to do that. I must be conditioned.
Uh,
But that makes it, and I'm not saying in all cases, so like a condo in theory should have lower property taxes,
Uh-huh.
lowering your monthly payment.
yeah, a little bit.
Depends, right?
Mhm.
Some are and some aren't. Your insurance is a little bit lower, but that doesn't make much of a difference in your monthly payment.
Right.
So then you're buying a condo that's probably still like priced high. Taxes are not, they're a little lower, not a whole lot lower, and you've got a condo fee
Right.
that I'm noticing is $200 to $300 a
Right.
month.
Exactly.
So sometimes your condo could be more than a house
Yeah.
because you've got the condo fee.
Right. Crown Point. So why I'm saying condos are so terrible right now is because there aren't any. There's only 3 available in the entire city of Sun Prairie.
See?
3. Did I say 3?
You did.
Okay,
A
3.
couple times.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The median price from December was $314,242. Yeah. Condos increased 9%, almost 10% over last year. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Here's since we're talking about condos and we're going to get back to affordability, affordable housing is that. So Crown Point, where I used to live, my condo's over there with my peeps, all my peeps. Their condo fee just went to $360.
Ouch.
And I try to talk to the officers, that are there, the president, secretary. Bill Klein is the president right now, and Shirley Jensen used to be the treasurer, and I used to say, you guys are killing your values, because they're killing their values because they don't want assessments.
They're limiting their buyer pool hugely.
Correct.
So why are they increasing it? Is it a major expense like a roof or something like that, or what's the reason?
Well, you got to feed your kitty. You've got to keep your reserve up there, your statutory reserve.
Right, but so they must be spending money.
They've been doing roofing, so they did roofing, but they did an assessment for $1,000, and they probably should have done an assessment for $2,000. Why not? And then keep your condo fee lower, because there's a point where that return on that condo fee just doesn't happen. What am I getting for that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I know the insurance, I know common areas. Does it include heat and hot water? I don't know.
Some do, some don't.
Right. It's so.
Do you get use of a pool or
right
workout facility?
Exactly.
Yeah, some do, some don't.
So it keeps that value down.
Uh-huh.
But now what happens is you get somebody out there, and their values on Crown Point is one of them, where they've just jumped a little bit. Just a little, whoop, did a little hop, skip, hop, skip.
Hop, skip, and jump.
Hop, skip. Well, yeah, they jumped. They didn't jump. They leaped. So I believe one sold for over $240,000, which will be the highest priced 2-bedroom unit there.
Really?
Yeah. So now what's going to happen is, and a good real estate agent, and listen to me, every one of you agents that are out there, don't ruin this. Their values are now going to go up $240, $245 for a 4-bedroom. And what it's going to do is it's going to take that, and this is a 55 plus development, by the way. It's going to take that 55 plus individual that's now has a higher income, higher savings, and put it into those properties, and it's going to hurt the ones that have little or less, because of higher property value, higher condo fee.
Mm-hmm.
So we go back to affordability, and it's just another one. But so affordability is all over the place. I mean, it's not just one. But what you hear on the news, what you hear when the politicians open their mouths about this, is when they say about affordable housing, they're talking about low-income housing. They're talking about folks that have a income less or 60% of the area median income, and it's something else. It's just.
Did you define workforce housing yet?
Not yet. We're getting to it.
Good segue.
Well, I gotta watch the clock here.
All these terms.
I know.
Yeah, like, not that the true definition is going to mean anything to you, again, because we just heard different definitions of affordable housing from HUD.
Right.
But what is? I think a lot of people think workforce housing is the same thing. Is it or not?
It's not. Absolutely not.
Definition?
I think workforce housing comes out of affordable housing. I do. But let me read this. I want to read this. This also came out of HUD. Any approach to housing affordability that ignores the supply side will ultimately run into a problem familiar with the children's game called musical chairs. Love that game. Whoever has the biggest butt wins.
Whoever's the pushiest.
Yeah, biggest butt. If there aren't enough homes to go around, someone has to lose out. In an unregulated, unsubsidized market, the people who lose are going to be the people with the least amount of money to spend. Various regulatory measures or subsidies can change that and provide targeted assistance to some households. Now, what's that mean? That means like an apartment building, and you say 20% of my properties will be affordable housing and reserved just for that. If you let me build this property, if I get this TIF, then I will.
What is TIF?
tax
incremental finance.
Thank you. I knew it.
Just making sure, because not
Yep.
everybody understands these terms.
So if and a lot of developers do this, they also set up retail underneath the apartments. I mean, which I think is a joke because look at all the empty.
So many vacant,
I
yeah.
know. Come
Yeah.
on.
It's a good idea,
It
but
is.
it's not working right now.
Right. So so that's what's changing. So, but in many areas, the basic problem is that demand of housing is very high, which we know. The technology boom has caused many people to want to live in like Palo Alto, California. I threw that out there because I thought it was a cool name to say. But there aren't enough houses to go around. And the renewed fashionability of urban living means that many people want to live in Sun Prairie. They do. Everybody wants to move here. Why? We've got great schools. We have amazing parks. We've got a very approachable community. We have a supportive police department. We have everything. We have an approachable government. Our alder people are approachable. They listen. And
Do they?
yeah, I do. I think so.
Okay.
And we also have a world-class library. That the library, folks, I'm going to tell you, is a huge draw for people when buying a home.
It's a great library.
It is.
And it's about to get better, huh?
Hopefully, yeah, it is. So it's that everybody wants to live in Sun Prairie, but there aren't enough apartments to go around. I mean, our apartments right now are at 96%.
So why did you say apartments and not housing in general?
Well, because I wanted to start with apartments first and then go over to housing. The housing is the other issue. We don't have enough housing. The problem with housing is they can build 300 units and do that in 6 months, like the developments we're seeing. How long is it going to take to build 300 houses? Well, I want to say we only built 69 during the year. 69. Oh,
Why don't we see more, I mean, I get duplexes because they take up more land. Could we do more 2 flats or 4 units?
I'm with you.
Not apartments. I'm talking like you can own your unit.
Sure.
Why can't we do more of that to make better use of land space?
I'm with you. It's just our Midwestern thinking. If you're in New York City, where are you going to live? You're going to live in a high-rise. I mean, that's just what it is.
It's density. You have to.
Right. That's what it's going to be. We are Midwestern people. We like a single-family home, and we like our cars. That's why the bus systems don't really work in the Midwest. Well, it's true, though.
Yeah.
Because I want to get my car.
In Madison, it works well. Here,
Not for the majority.
well,
It's not for the majority. Just saying. But transportation does go along with affordable housing.
it does.
It does.
It's huge.
Yeah. Because the people when you live. Well, I used to live in Philadelphia. I've lived out in North Jersey, and people would talk about going to work. Well, that's 3 stops.
Oh,
They'll say, or I've got to change twice.
bus.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. And I keep thinking, oh my God, how long is that going to take? But
Chicago people talk like that.
sure.
Bigger city.
Right.
Wintrust had we're about to hear from Lawrence Yoon is going to come talk about January is the time of year, right?
When?
You start talking. I think is it next week or the week after?
Am I invited?
Well, you're part of the Realtors Association, are you not? That's who's offering it. So.
I thought it was a Zoom thing.
I know. It is. It is. But he's going to talk about the, projections for 2023.
Right.
So anyway, on our...
They're always wrong,
Huh?
They're always wrong.
Well, I don't know.
They're overly conservative,
Well. Oh,
says the conservative.
okay, yeah. I won't go into that. A lot of that is like politically motivated and like, say this.
No.
We want you to say that. We want you to...
Conservative is just being, you're holding back.
Do we need definitions on that too?
Well, of course we do, because you said, well, I'm a conservative. Oh, you're a Trump lover. That's what it's all about, Yeah.
Isn't it funny how we have so many different
Oh my
perceptions
gosh.
and definitions of things? Anyway, getting back to this, somebody had asked our economist,
Who's our?
Wintrust.
Okay.
So he did it for our company to give us an idea of what he was seeing as far as trends coming out of 2022. What does 2023 look like? And somebody had asked a question about, all right, what do you think the driving force is going to be for 2023 and housing and appreciation,
Wow.
supply and demand issues. And he said, kind of like you were talking about before, the older demographic is huge.
Mhm.
So in 50 and 60 territory, they don't want to. They're not ready to go into a facility,
No.
but they maybe don't want to stay in the home that they've been in, already raised their kids and moved out.
Mhm.
So, and that's, I think, what's been lacking in a way. Anyway, that demographic and the young demographic.
Sure.
I'm just getting out of my parents' house, I'm finishing school,
Mhm.
I really don't want to rent, I want to own. So trying to find housing for those people,
Mhm.
which in theory could maybe work if the older population is letting go of their houses.
They're not.
That's the thing,
Right.
because people are living longer and they're healthier and more active and able to take care of their homes.
Right.
So they're not selling them,
Yeah.
which is what the new
Sure.
generation would come in and buy.
Right.
But it's not happening.
My dad, who's 82, Terry's mom, who's 87, they don't see any need to go to like independent living or any type of that communal type of living.
I wouldn't want to.
I wouldn't
Sorry,
either.
It's
Right.
horrible.
And you know, both cases, the house is paid for.
Yeah.
So they just want
Taxes
well,
for a lot of people on fixed income are hard to manage.
well, that's true. That's very true. But yeah, that's true.
Anyway,
But they'll do anything to stay in that house.
I would too. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So what I was talking about earlier, where you have kind of this diversity, is called inclusionary zoning. And so inclusionary zoning ordinances have become really popular with affordable housing. That's why you see our apartment complexes in Sun Prairie, where they've got the retail underneath, like I said, and they do that. But the way inclusionary zoning works is it requires that a certain share of the units of a new project be set aside for families under a given income threshold, typically about 80% of the area median income. And at that price, that's affordable for some families. I would say some families. It's an effective tool for maintaining economic diversity in a rapidly developing neighborhood. Plus, what you're going to get is an impact on the overall affordability of a city and metropolitan area. But it's the political process that goes wrong that's a killer on this. And I'm going to say you guys got to be careful with it. You got to be careful with it. Now, I want to talk about workforce housing. We're going to switch gears here, okay? So, again, we go back. Remember, the median household income, or AMI, area median income, they call it, is $77,139, all right? According to Urban Land Institute, because HUD didn't have one, workforce housing is defined as housing affordable households earning between 60 and 120% of the area median income. Workforce housing targets middle income workers, which include professions such as police officers, firefighters, teachers, healthcare workers, retail clerks, and the like. Households who need workforce housing may not always qualify for housing subsidies by the Low Income Housing Tax Credit program or the Housing Choice Vouchers, which are two of the major programs in place for addressing affordable housing needs. So what I did, so think about that for a second. I mean, that's just, that group of people actually kind of gets hurt a little bit. But let's back up a second. So the workforce housing folks, I'm telling you, come from affordable housing. That's where it starts out. And then they move into workforce housing. But two completely different things. So I wanted to look at it mathematically. I love stats, as everybody knows. And so I wanted to look at this. So as we pointed out earlier, affordable housing is that 77,000 number. And if 60% of the AMI, and if 30% of my household income goes towards housing, that would give me a monthly rental amount of $1,157. $1,157. Now, I found a place on Broadway that's 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, $880 per month. Rent. And then I found the one at 820 West Main, which is the old McGovern apartments and all that, which I wouldn't stay there if you killed me. Studio, it's a studio with one bath, so it's just one room, and that's $975.
So why is the Broadway one
Cheaper?
Yeah.
Just because they haven't increased the rent yet, I guess. I don't know. Why do you think,
Why ask why?
Why? I mean, why do we park in a driveway and drive on a parkway? I don't know.
Excellent question.
So let's look at workforce housing and using the stats there. Remember, workforce housing is 60 to 120% of area median income, right? So if we use that same $77,000, and if I use 80%, not the 60, I just boosted 20% higher than the affordable, that gives me a gross annual income of $61,711. If I say that 30% of my total income, my gross income, is going to be towards housing, that's $1,542 per month. If I take that number to 100%, that takes me to $77,000, with 30% of that being my income. That's $1,900. Now here's the kicker. Rent.com says that our average price in Sun Prairie is $1,084 for a studio, $1,300 for a one-bedroom, and $1,600 for a two-bedroom.
Affordable?
Is it? I don't know.
It doesn't seem like it.
No. No. Now, watch this. Here's where Laura and I come in and do what we do. And this is where we're kind of preaching to you a little bit, but we're not preaching to you a little bit. We're trying to help you. And help the people that you know. Help the kids that you have you got to kick them out of your basement. You need to help them go buy a house. If you bought a $250,000 house, 5% down, 30-year mortgage at 6.125, your monthly payment would be $1,518 a month. I don't know if that includes taxes or not.
It does, but I don't know what number you're using.
What? I just told you.
For taxes. I would think it does.
Right. I don't think so. Run that number. If I take a $350,000 number, which is more realistic in Sun Prairie, 30 years, 6.125, that's $2,125 per month. I did not put taxes in there. That's a straight number without taxes. Now, by the way, you may rent an apartment. Oh, guess what? You're still paying taxes. You're still paying property tax. You're paying your portion of property taxes. It's just in your monthly rental amount. So those numbers are so close. At $250,000, $275,000, I'd rather you pay yourself than pay a landlord. But now you're going to say, well, Bill, you said there's nothing out there. The inventory's low. That's true. We have to find it. Laura and I are working with a buyer right now that is trying to find the lowest price possible. And it's like finding a needle in a haystack. But that's my job. My job is to find that property. Laura's job is to make sure that person is prepared and able to buy the house when we find it. Anything good in life takes a little bit of effort.
Well, yeah.
And we can find that.
Side note, I won't get into it.
I know.
Another conversation.
I know. Don't do it. Don't go there. Don't go there.
Effort. There's no get rich quick anything in life.
No, there's not.
Patience.
No.
Preparation.
I did find a duplex for that, or a income property for that person.
Too far away.
Makes so much money that it makes up. There's so much profit.
Okay, well, you're talking.
I know, I hear you. So there you have it. I mean, so the workforce housing is that area where you kind of get penalized a little bit, but you're the guys and gals out there taking care of us. You're our police department, our EMS. You're my folks over at Buck and Honey's. You're the guys and gals working at Menards. You're our teachers that are out there, and we know you're out there. That's workforce housing. Workforce housing. So you see the difference?
Whenever I hear workforce housing, I go back to, we talked about it, and it can be brought back to life, but a program that WIDA was working on years ago, where it involved large employers in an area who are contributing,
Sure.
offering homebuyer education to prepare their employees for home ownership, and they were also putting in some money toward the purchase because it benefits them. Because typically, employees that you help, buy a home are going to be more loyal to you. They will stay longer. It lowers your costs, your training costs, your new hiring costs, all that. They'll be hopefully closer to work.
Right.
So, there's a lot of advantages for the employer to do that. But the world that we're in right now is just difficult to navigate. Employers are having a really hard time getting good quality people in there.
And keeping them. Right.
But maybe this is good timing for something like this. Maybe it would bring a better quality of employee if you were offering something like this as a benefit that others are not.
Wow. Wow, let's go. That's a whole rabbit hole. That's a great rabbit hole, because part of the history of employment back in the day, before employers paid health insurance, they used that to lure in employees. So now it's like a standard.
Yep.
It's an expectation when you go to work for somebody that you're going to get health insurance.
Yeah.
And it's the biggest expense for an employer. It's the biggest expense. So adding housing onto that, oh my gosh. We have an example of this in the state, and it's Kohler. Kohler created their community up there.
Yeah.
So their employees could live right there. What a cool idea.
And I wonder what the average, tenure of an employee is at Kohler.
I don't know.
It'd be interesting to find that out.
It would be. It would be. And also, it would be. But it's interesting. We have to do something.
This is where the community can work together to find solutions. There's a lot of answers.
Right.
I shouldn't say a lot of answers. There are some answers out there, but we have to put heads together. We need funding coming in to make it easier for developers and builders, but we also need large employers to get involved in this as well.
We need to have a government that loosens their grip on those fees, the impact fees.
Yeah.
We have to have a government. I'm talking to you, city. They know. I've already heard me say this. I need them to loosen the zoning inspection criteria and costs associated with. Now their first thing is, we're going to lose a couple $1 million if we do that. How are we going to make that money up? Okay. Maybe buy more houses. We'll make that money up. But
this is where I think we need to talk on the city level, government level, where are dollars that could be freed up that can come into communities to allow for this.
Here we go. What I'm going to say to you is, it's like reading stereo instructions. It's like trying to figure out how to set that clock on those VCR things we used to have. It's just, you can't get a straight answer out of each government entity, because each government entity has different costs. Things are included in this, but not in this. It's really difficult. And I've had discussions with Scott Kugler about this. But try to go and compare communities on the different fees that they have. And so Prairie will come back and go, we're very competitive. Go to a builder and they go, you're not competitive at all.
Right. And that's who we should be listening to.
Exactly.
They're the ones paying the fees or deciding where they're going to build based on the fees and the bureaucracy involved in developing.
We had here's how impressed I was with this company that I can't remember the name of them, from Monday night. They came in, they're a developer. They've done nothing in Sun Prairie yet, as they said. A lot of work in Middleton, Fitchburg, in that area. But when we got finished with the conversation in their presentation and we're talking about this, my first thing was, folks, we have to get the correct definition of affordable housing and workforce housing. I said the second thing is we need to get outside of the box and stop looking at Madison as the example, because Madison is not the answer.
No.
Madison just likes to throw a bunch of money at something and then sit back and hope it's going to work. It's like giving a bunch of money to a kid and say, hey, save this.
Well, we're a suburb anyway, so we're more comparable with, we are.
Madison's a suburb of Sun Prairie, thank you very much.
Whatever. We're more comparable with Verona,
Yeah.
Fitchburg, all
Right.
these other communities that are
Right.
trying to figure it out. So who brought this company in? I'm curious, and did they say why they're
Our
not
staff,
yet?
the staff of the city staff, our housing person,
Why
Becky
are they
Benz.
not building in Sun Prairie
Yet,
yet?
yes.
Why?
They just haven't gotten here, they said.
But it didn't have anything to do with costs.
No, you can go, and if you'd like to see this meeting, you can go on to the Sun Prairie Media Center Facebook page or website, go to On Demand and look for Housing Committee.
Do you guys meet in person or
Yeah, we meet in person.
via Zoom?
Oh, we have some people zooming in, which I think's a joke, but
And people can come and sit and listen.
yeah, they can. You can always attend. So the other point I was going to make about this was, and I forgot where I was going with it because we went down
The
another.
company, the construction company?
What I said to them was, I appreciated that company coming in and talking, and they shared it, and they're like, blah, 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 blah. They just spewed. It seems like a really good company. I'm not taking anything away from them. But you need to ask Randy Martin. You need to ask the Miller brothers. You need to ask Voyager. You need to ask the people that are in Sun Prairie as developers and builders why they're not building in the city.
Have they been invited?
No. Now, people have tried to have conversation. Chad Fedler. We need to have conversations more with Chad. All these guys. We need to circle ourselves with Sun Prairie people. And then let's break the box. Get outside of the box and say, this is how we can bring people to Sun Prairie, and this is how we can build the houses. If Viridian can do it, so can other people. But I even think there's a better model than what Viridian has. And you've always heard me say, I'm not a big fan of Viridian Homes. I'm just not. I don't like the workmanship. It's been pointed out to us before.
Yeah.
Um,
But they have figured out the smaller lot thing and how to configure homes to
Yeah.
use like maximum density,
Sure.
right? They're good at that.
Uh-huh.
They've really figured that out.
Sure.
Twin homes, they're doing twin homes,
Yeah.
But is that enough? No, I'd like to see more units
Sure.
in one that people can own and not rent.
Sure. And this is going to sound terrible. And we should get, we've had some Viridian folks on. What's his name? Should get him on to talk about this. So sometimes I think,
Josh?
what?
Much?
No, okay, that's not it. Here's what I think about new construction. It just drives me crazy. Got about 6 minutes left. Is that they build a house and they leave the basement, and
Save money.
or they leave the landscaping,
Yeah.
or they do just minimal. Sometimes you won't even have a back step going out of your sliding glass door. I haven't seen that one for a while, but these are things you have to consider. I feel like sometimes you're buying a car, and it's like, and do you want the undercarriage gook?
Gook.
Gook. We can build that basement for you. It'll be another $50,000. Yeah, we can add that on right here.
At construction,
Huh?
right? Cheaper to do it at construction versus later.
Supposedly. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, affordability. So we've been talking about low income and middle class income. I'm going to tell you that even in the higher income brackets, affordability has been affected. And so what's happening right now with us, and the reason why there is a limited inventory in Sun Prairie, is that people are holding on because that low interest rate that they received at 2.75, 299, 3%, 3.5%, and they decided not yet, not now. Because then they're worried about, and this is what comes out of their mouth, go ahead, where am I going to go?
Yeah.
Where am I going to go?
Well, if they don't have to move, then they're not motivated to, that's for sure.
Right.
Why do you want to double your interest rate if you don't have to go anywhere?
Well, why do I? Because I want to capitalize on all that equity I have in my house.
But if you don't need to, if you're fine where you are, what if a lot of people improved during COVID and they're like, you know, I kind of like my house again and I have a great rate, so.
Then live with it. Be there.
Yeah.
Be happy with it.
Yes.
But think about it this way too, though. If it, let's say that $500,000 house you have, that $300,000 house you have, is $300,000 in Tesla stock, and your financial planner says, Laura, this stock is topped out. We need to move this. You wouldn't think twice about it. You go, well, okay. Or you might go, well, let's take half of that. No. You wouldn't think, you would take less time thinking about that than you would your house. The reason being is, I got to move everything. I got to pack it all. I got to move it.
It's more difficult.
It's more difficult,
It's
right?
more time consuming.
It's more time consuming.
Okay, so then what do you say to the people, though, that, well, I'm going to end up being topped out on my next house, right? Because I'm going to overpay because of where the market is.
Well, you just use the word overpriced in market. The market's where the market is. That is the current market price.
Mm-hmm.
So are you tapped out? No, you're not. No, you just captured a bunch of cash.
You know, I think we should talk about that next time too, because another thing that I found confusing, the forecast about appreciation over the next year, and depending on if it was National Association of Realtors, Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, you know, like everybody's got their projection as far as what's going to happen with appreciation, and it was all over the place.
5%?
No, some were way low, like almost no appreciation. So like 0.5, I think it ranged from 0.5 to 5 or 6. So, I mean, how does the average person know how to gauge that, I guess?
Well, you can't.
It's the market. It is what it is at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you just have to know that it's the right time for you, and let the rest of it shake out.
Sorry
Take
for coughing.
advice from professionals.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you. I mean, that's exactly what you do.
It's too confusing otherwise.
It is, and you can't beat the market. You just can't.
No, you never can.
You never can.
Housing market, stock market, never. The timing is not perfect ever.
But the beauty about a house, owning a house, is that's 0.5% of the total value, not 0.5% of what you put down on a house.
Right.
You know, so that's the difference. 0.5%, 1%, 5%, 10%. I don't think
appreciation though.
It's not going to be flat. It's not going to be flat. There's no way. Absolutely not. Because demand is still so high.
That's the key.
And there's no inventory. And that's why appreciation is going to continue. Interest rates supposedly are going to come down. But that's why you and I say, marry the house, date the rate. Your rate might be a little higher today, but then Laura will refinance it later. So it's a good thing.
There are options, absolutely.
Hey, Prairie, you've been fantastic. I hope that was as clear as mud today. Affordable housing, workforce housing. Now when you hear about it, you know the difference. And share it with your friends. If you have questions about it, give me a call, reach out to me, text me, call me, email me. I am a realtor. My name, picture, and phone number are on all the internet, so I'm happy to help you. And also, you can reach out to Laura and chat with her at any time. So until next Wednesday, we'll see you right back here on the radio. Thanks for listening.
Bye, Prairie.
Guess I'll get shot for that one.
Why?
Because the internet, the music's on and The internet's on. Bye, Facebook.